The process of determining what your values are and thinking about whose values are aligned with yours helps you build a community of like-minded individuals who support your vision. And I can tell you that when you arrive at that, it is like getting to breathe in. After 40 years in childcare, I've experienced it all. The laughter, the challenges, and the burnout. I'm Debra Rinell, and I'm here to share the realities of childcare leadership with you. Starting as an unexpected entrepreneur facing the pressures of leadership, I've been through the same struggles that you are likely navigating today. More importantly, I discovered strategies to not just survive, but truly thrive in this rewarding field, and I'm ready to share it all with you. Ready to elevate your center and reignite your passion for childcare? Let's get started. Hello, and welcome to Care and Connect, the Childcare Leadership Podcast, where we discuss strategies and tools to help you run successful childcare centers. I'm your host, Debra Rinell, and today we're diving into the program pillar within the Culture Quadrant of the Care4 Method, a critical element in shaping not just the educational experience, but the overall business success of your childcare center. Here's something that might surprise you. When we talk about the program pillar, we're not just discussing curriculum from a developmental point of view, but also from a business perspective. After all, program is the business of your business. From how you implement your curriculum to the way you connect with families, every decision you make impacts both your center's quality and its financial health. So let's break it down. In the realm of early childhood education, your curriculum is more than just lesson plans. It's your roadmap to success. A well-structured curriculum not only enhances children's academic and emotional development, but also positions your center as a place that prioritizes quality and innovation. Tailoring learning experiences, ensuring holistic development, and facilitating play-based learning are essential, but we need to look at how these elements can drive business outcomes. In my own center, we discovered that by refining our curriculum and tailoring it to our community's needs, we were able to boost enrollment. Parents saw the value in our approach, and word-of-mouth referrals increased significantly. That's the beauty of a strong program. It pays off in more ways than one. So let's talk about collaborative learning as a revenue driver. One of the most effective ways to differentiate your program is by fostering teamwork and communication among children. You're not just building social skills, you're enhancing the learning experience, which translates into a program parents are willing to invest in. When children are actively engaged, they thrive, and parents are more likely to stick around. Collaborative learning not only helps children learn better, but also helps control your costs. How? By shifting some of the learning dynamics from teacher-led instruction to peer-supported activities. You can reduce the need for constant one-on-one instruction, which can ease staffing demands. Family connections is a game changer for your center. Family engagement is not just a nice to have, it's a key revenue driver. When families feel connected and invested in your program, retention rates improve, and satisfied families lead to word-of-mouth referrals. Think of it as an investment in your center's long-term success. One practical way to strengthen these connections is through Send Home Learning. It's a simple strategy that bridges the gap between the classroom and home, giving parents a direct role in their child's education. Not only does it enhance the child's learning, but it deepens the relationship between the family and your center. So getting into the nitty-gritty of how curriculum directly impacts your bottom line, let's talk about how a well-designed curriculum doesn't just benefit the children, it benefits your entire business. By offering tailored activities that cater to diverse learning styles, you're creating a program that stands out in your community. And when your program is unique, families are willing to pay a premium for that experience. One important element here is ensuring seamless progression in your curriculum. When parents see their child's consistent progress and development, they're more likely to stay with your center long term, leading again to those higher retention rates and sustained revenue. Play-based learning at its core of early child education and a key part of your program's success can captivate a child's imagination, enhances cognitive abilities, and teaches problem-solving skills. But from a business perspective, it's also a major selling point. When parents see the developmental benefits of your play-based curriculum, it reinforces the value of your program. Remember, a holistic curriculum isn't just about academic growth. It's about developing well-rounded children who are ready for the challenges ahead. And that's something parents will invest in. One of the strongest strategies you can adopt is maximizing family engagement, whether it's through structured family events, regular communication, or home-based learning activities. Involving families in their child's education strengthens loyalty. When parents are engaged, they feel like partners in their child's learning journey, and that translates to long-term enrollment and a stable revenue stream for your program. Offer workshops for families that help them extend learning at home. These could focus on topics like play-based learning activities, early literacy, or even family communication. These workshops enhance family connections and position your center as a leader in holistic family-centered care. To sum this all up, the program pillar in the Care4 Method's Culture Quadrant is the backbone of your childcare center's success. By crafting a curriculum that is both developmentally sound and business-focused, you're setting the stage for long-term growth and sustainability. Remember, it's not just about what the children learn. It's about how your program can differentiate your center, enhance family relationships, and ultimately drive your center's revenue. It's easy to think that childcare, especially right now when the availability is low, that it is a build it and they will come kind of proposition. And to some extent it is. If you're just seeking to, have customers come through the door. But building an interactive community around your childcare program, that doesn't happen by accident. It's going to be a deliberate and strategic effort that requires alignment with your core values and mission, right? Not every childcare provider is doing what they're doing with the same mission in mind, and we don't necessarily all share the same core values. So in today's episode, we're going to explore how identifying and sharing those core values can help you attract more like-minded families and team members, and why it's equally important to be clear about who might not be the right fit for your program. You want to have full transparency when it comes to this. And why, you might ask, as long as they're paying their childcare bill, or as long as they're showing up for work, why does it matter that they be like-minded? Well, for a lot of reasons. It makes it much easier for you to establish yourself as that family's provider. If there is like-mindedness between you and your customers, then the chances that they will stay with you longer. Remember, some come to you with an infant, and if you're licensed through 12 years, the potential is that you have that customer for 12 years, and it will reduce the turnover of your customers. It's definitely going to reduce the turnover of your team members, I can tell you. If they are enjoying where they work, if it's like-minded on core values with your team, then everything just sort of seems to sync better. And you are not spending a lot of time explaining yourself, having to ask families to leave, terminating employees, having them quit without notice. So the key, and it's a hard one to remember, and it's even a hard one to apply, I understand, is that you want to start out whether it's enrollment, whether it's hiring, you want to start out looking for people who align with your core values, who understand your mission, and are on board with what you're trying to do. Your transparency about your values isn't just a marketing strategy. It's a way to ensure that the people you hire and the families you enroll share your vision and goals. Let's be honest, enrolling a family whose values don't align with your program can lead to challenges down the road. It might seem harmless at first, but those differences in values can create friction over time. It's why it's crucial to think about your customer avatar. I know that sounds like a funny phrase or a catchword, but your customer avatar is your ideal customer. What do they look like? What values do they hold? When you understand this, you help bring in families and staff who are aligned with your mission. I know for many business owners, defining core values and a mission can feel a bit abstract, but here's the thing. Your core values are the guiding principles that are dictating how you run your program, how your staff interacts, and even how you handle the challenges that arise. It's important to remember that your mission is a work in progress. It's something you're striving toward, even if you're not quite there yet. So don't let the fact that maybe the mission you envision, which hasn't come to fruition yet, is an excuse to not establish this as your mission. It's a mission. All right. It's the destination you're working towards. It's not where you're saying you already are. It's being transparent with your family members and your team members about where it is you want to take your program and that you want them to be a part of that. So this is a lot to digest, right? So how do you define those values? Well, you have to start with yourself. You have to start with introspection, and you have to ask yourself, what principles do you hold dear? What values have driven you in your career as a childcare provider? Once you have those answers to those key questions, you'll start to see how they shape your program's mission. Remember, your core values are your North Star. Even if your path changes, those values will guide you back on track. So why is it so important to state your values and mission publicly? Well, when you're clear about what you stand for, it makes it easier for families and staff to imagine themselves as part of your community. Those who share your vision will be naturally drawn to your program, while those who don't align will look elsewhere. And you know what? That's okay. This is something that I can tell you in my 35 years, I had to learn the hard way. I was so intent on conforming myself to the customer or to the team members, right? I would have this reliable team member who showed up every day, but our values didn't align. And I used to tell myself, it's no big deal. It's no big deal. This does not have to be somebody that I would hang out with after work. This just has to be somebody who shows up and does their job. But the reality of that is that there are going to be pivotal moments in the operation of your program where those values aligning are going to matter. And when they don't align and you attempt to assert your values at a key moment, it is going to be like pulling teeth to get that quote unquote reliable team member on board. And in fact, you can find yourself on the outside looking in of your own program if you have too many team members, especially core team members whose values do not align with yours. The process of determining what your values are and thinking about whose values are aligned with yours helps you build a community of like-minded individuals who support your vision. And I can tell you that when you arrive at that, it is like getting to breathe in fresh air for the first time. It's like holding your breath and then finally getting to breathe in. And this doesn't mean that the like-minded individuals you enroll or you work with are going to be problem-free. Sometimes you're going to have to provide more training, or you're going to have to make more accommodations. But at the end of the day, when your core values align and you are working with like-minded individuals, even those things become easier. Here's an example. Imagine that you've built a childcare center focused on fostering empathy and collaboration. And if you're upfront about those values, the families who enroll will appreciate and support those efforts, which makes for a stronger, more cohesive community. So let's talk about how core values can affect your decision making. When you're clear on your values, decisions become easier. Let me give you a scenario here. Let's say a family has been unknowingly overpaying for childcare services because they didn't submit a schedule change on time. Do you refund them for the extra payments, or do you keep the money knowing that technically they didn't follow the proper procedures? If your core value is integrity, you're likely going to choose to refund the family, even if it's not required. If your value is consistency, you might stick to your policy. You see, there's no right or wrong answer here, but you can understand where if you are working with and making decisions with people whose values differ, and that doesn't mean that one party is right and the other party is wrong. It's not that black and white. It's about where the values lie and how that affects not only the decisions you make, but the decisions those representing you are going to make. It's about making sure that your decisions align with the values that you've set for your program. Building a strong community within your center doesn't just happen overnight. It requires intentionality. In my case, I can tell you that because I wasn't intentional in early years, that I kind of thought that our culture was sort of just whatever evolved, right? It was what it was. But then I had to face a very difficult situation where I recognized that the culture wasn't in line with my values, that I could no longer be okay with some of the things that were going on in my program. So when your values are clear, it's going to strengthen your relationships with your families and staff. Shared values create trust, mutual respect, and a sense of belonging for everyone. And that's when the magic happens. When everyone is on the same page, your program thrives and your community grows stronger. But remember, building community isn't about convincing others to adopt your values. That's very important to remember. It's about creating a space where like-minded people can come together. And boy, I wish somebody would have told me that years ago. Because once I understood what my values were, and once I knew I wasn't okay with some of the things, did I start to create a space? No. What did I do? I went out and I started to lobby my key team members. I wanted them to share my values. I wanted us to be on the same page. And I wanted to get that by convincing them that my values were the ones that they should adopt. That was a waste of time. It was frustrating for both of us. And it led to a great deal of friction, anger even, and tears in some cases. Those who don't share your values, they may move on. And you know what? That's okay. It's part of the natural process of developing a strong, unified community. So let's talk about creating a mission statement. I know that's something that people hear and go, like it's something that, you hear about in every business leadership class and so forth. And you think, yeah. But you want to create a mission statement that resonates with your community. And your mission statement should articulate why your program exists and how it's making a difference. This goes beyond marketing strategy, right? This is you building your community and building your program. And your mission statement doesn't have to be long. In fact, brevity is the key. The most powerful mission statements are often just a sentence or two, but they can be packed with meaning. Once your mission is clear, think about the customer avatar. Who is your ideal family? What are their pain points? What values do they hold? By defining your customer avatar, you can then tailor the marketing and the communication strategies to attract the families who are the best fit for your program. I want to say that again. Attract the families who are the best fit for your program. You cannot modify your program to be the best fit for all the families you will serve. Why? Because families are all seeking different experiences. I like to tell everyone about when I was first starting out that in the same day, one day during pickup, I had one parent who was upset because the teacher for her child's classroom made her child eat all the vegetables. And he apparently didn't like the particular vegetable we served. And the parent said, you know what? He's allowed to have his tastes. He's allowed to have likes and dislikes. And if he didn't want it, he didn't want it, and she shouldn't have made him eat it. In the very same day, a different classroom, a different teacher, I had a parent upset with me. Why? Because their child didn't eat all of their vegetables. And when the teacher attempted to explain that the child didn't care for the vegetable we had served, the parent said, it doesn't matter. He doesn't get to say. He needs to receive that nourishment. I want him eating all of his vegetables. We go round and round with him about this at home. And when I leave him with you, I expect you to follow through with what we're trying to teach at home, which is that you finish your vegetables. I like to share this story because it can show how very different the needs of families can be. And so it is important for you to know where you land on some of these things, what your values are, what your mission is. And then that way, when you're doing your marketing and placing your ads and so forth, you know what you need to say to attract the families that are going to be a good fit for your program, not the other way around. There's no way you are going to be able to fit the needs of each and every family and all of the different things that they need. You need a foundation of core values. You need a mission statement. At the end of the day, building an interactive community starts with your core values. And when you're transparent about your values and mission, you're going to attract the right people, families who share your vision, and staff who are passionate about your goals. Together, this creates a community that's aligned, supportive, and engaged in the growth of your program. So I want to encourage you to take some time to reflect on your core values, craft a mission statement, and define your customer avatar. It's a powerful way to build a thriving, values-driven community within your child care center. Later, we'll talk about after you have taken this step and you are looking at your team and determining whether or not everyone is a good fit for your program. I'm not telling you to make a list of who you need to fire. I am telling you that you do want to get your mission out there. You do want to share your core values out and get those out there to all of them. And I will promise you that odds are that you will not have to let anyone go. They will sort of take themselves out of the picture But you have to keep with your true north. You have to stay with your values. You have to be clear about the mission, and you have to continually remind what the mission is. And those who aren't on board, they will fade away. We all know that your program's culture is shaped by the community that aligns with your core values and mission. But what about expanding beyond your immediate walls? Today, we're going to talk about how outreach not only connects your program with the local community, but can also have a global ripple effect. Here at Childcare Management Solutions, we believe that recognizing the broader impact of your work is key. Whether you realize it or not, your program is shaping the future, not just for your community, but for the world. In today's episode, we're going to discuss how outreach can extend your reach, include families and children, and create connections that go far beyond your center. When we think of outreach, it's easy to imagine local efforts, hosting workshops, inviting guest speakers, or organizing community events. But what if we expand that perspective? Think about the ripple effect your program can have on education, not just in your city, but on a much larger scale. Every time you engage with families or children, you're contributing to a global community of learners. That's a pretty powerful concept. Your program doesn't exist in isolation. It's an integral part of a larger ecosystem. When you take steps to engage with your community, whether it's through partnerships with local businesses, neighborhood cleanups, or offering parent workshops, you're not just enhancing your program, you're strengthening the fabric of an entire community. Outreach isn't just about giving back. It's about enhancing the learning experience for children and families. Imagine bringing in guest speakers, local artists, or community members to share their experience with your kids, or taking your children on field trips to local parks, businesses, or cultural centers. These experiences broaden children's horizons and provide real-world learning opportunities that spark curiosity and engagement. Outreach also promotes inclusivity. By collaborating with local organizations that support diverse populations, and that percentage is growing more every day. In fact, when I was doing my master's studies, one of the journal articles I researched stated they were predicting that it's estimated by 2025, 60% of the children in childcare will be English language learners. That's a tremendous diverse population. You can create an environment where all children, regardless of their background, feel welcomed and included. This isn't just good for the kids, it's good for your program. A culture of exclusivity makes your program stand out and sends a strong message to families about your values. One of the most impactful things you can do through outreach is to foster civic responsibility in your children. By involving them in activities like planting trees, organizing donation drives, helping the less fortunate, you're teaching them the importance of giving back. And these early experiences help children understand that their actions make a difference in the world around them. When you create opportunities for children to participate in community efforts, you're not only enhancing their education, you're laying the foundation for a future generation of compassionate, engaged citizens. Imagine the ripple effect of this, a world full of adults who started learning the value of community as preschoolers. But outreach isn't just for the kids, it's for the families too. Parents and caregivers benefit immensely from outreach efforts. Offering workshops on parenting, child development, or even financial literacy allows parents to feel connected and supported by your program. It's a way to foster stronger family-school ties and create a sense of community that goes beyond the classroom. So how do you get started with building a strong outreach team for your program? First, define your outreach goals. Do you want to strengthen ties with the local community, enhance learning opportunities for your children, support families through workshops and events? Once you have your goals in mind, then you can start assembling your team. Your outreach team doesn't have to be big. It just needs to be effective. Think about recruiting staff who are passionate about community engagement or have specific skills like organizing events or building partnerships. When you're sharing and brainstorming with your team about your outreach goals, it's likely that these people will sort of present themselves as you learn what they're passionate about and which of the goals they're getting excited about. That's going to be your outreach team. And remember that you don't have to do this alone. You can partner with local businesses, community centers, or even other childcare programs to pool resources to make an even bigger impact. So at the end of the day, outreach is about creating connections that enhance your program, support your families, help your community thrive. Whether you're organizing local events, inviting families to participate in community service, or simply offering resources and workshops, the impact of your outreach will be felt far and wide. I'm Debra Rinell, and this has been another episode of Care and Connect, the Childcare Leadership Podcast. Thank you for joining me. If you found today's episode helpful, don't forget to subscribe and be sure to join me next time for more tips on building a successful, values-driven childcare program. Thank you for joining me on this journey through this rewarding world of childcare leadership. Remember that we're all navigating this together. Whether you're feeling challenged or feeling motivated, know that when you take time to be the visionary of your program, you can elevate your center and ignite your passion. Until next time, I'm Debra Rinell, reminding you to take care of yourself with the same dedication you give to others.